Hey, welcome back to another Just 5 Mins and a little bit of light listening this time around about the subject of Web3. Yes, all that talk about Web3 and everything else, but I thought, I'd revisit and dig a little bit deeper, well, in 5 minutes or less than 5 minutes. But it seems to be a little bit like the whole AI type of thing that's been around for ages and ages and suddenly reached a bit of a tipping point with sort of what I'm sort of seeing. It's like consumer AI now. It's like every man and his dog or woman can basically go to ChatGPT, and all the other sort of myriad of sort of like AI startups that probably are using OpenAI and things like that at the back end. But I can't blame them. Make hay while the sun shines and all that. But it does seem like Web3, which is a bit of, it's that moniker there that everybody's sort of saying, but it's basically when you drill into it, it's lots of obviously other subjects, and one of course is blockchain, which cryptocurrencies are sort of built upon, or different ways of course, but the crypto side, yeah, fair enough, but blockchain itself, from what I've been seeing anyway, is and has been sort of employed and built into a lot of business applications, from everything from logistics tracking to purchase management, so that instead of one company sort of holding all that information about what's been shipped and where it is at the moment, especially if it's global sort of shipping, it's on a blockchain, it's public, it's verified what stage and what actions have been taken upon that. So really, what goes into that blockchain element there seems to be in the world of things like dApps, which are decentralized applications that ultimately contain like a smart contract. So some sort of element there about what the data packet is, if you want to call it that, but it can be verified just like the cryptocurrency. If you make a payment with crypto to someone else, it's public, it's verifiable. Doesn't mean everything has to go on there at all. But the interesting thing was, I was reading a couple of articles, and one that jumped out is a company called Inrupt. And one of the co-founders and CTO is none other than Tim Berners-Lee. And I thought, okay, have a little read about this. And that's an organization that are doing many things, but one thing is an open source project called Solid. And essentially Solid has got this concept of pods, where it's a specification essentially, but it lets people store their data securely in decentralized data stores called pods. Pods are like secure personal web services for data. Yes, I am reading this from an article. But the idea is where you have the choice of when the data is accessed and what applications can do that. So you can actually self-host one of these pods or multiples of these pods. But interestingly, you can also get them hosted basically. And one of them in the UK is DigitalOcean. Actually, I've got something called solidcommunity.net where you can host these. Okay, so that's quite interesting in itself. But as I say, you then sort of delve from the Web3 tree into things like, again, you've got dApps, distributed apps, and there's a whole world involved in that. I mean, I think if this goes anywhere, maybe I'll do more specific Just 5 Mins on dApps themselves, and things like Solidity, which is a framework to build these smart contracts for, certainly on like things like Ethereum blockchain. There's lots of others, of course. That's just one. But there's also then things like NFTs. So I've been playing around with NFTs a little bit just to see what all the hype is, what it isn't. Of course, like everything, I think it's with the whole AI thing. There's a lot of buff and bluster, there's a lot of hype, but there are some very useful things that you can do. And I guess that is the golden question, isn't it? Is what you can actually make of these. And, can you employ them to actually make things better for whatever you're working on or whatever it might be in technology or not? I mean, there might be other elements there as well, but it's quite an interesting area. It's this is just a complete overview in 5-ish minutes, and obviously there's a lot of big subjects in there which, you know, I think I might delve into, certainly things like the dApps and that whole world, and indeed blockchain in general and NFTs. So I still think that there are ways that those things can actually have some real utility there. And of course they are. You know, there are companies really taking advantage of this, a little bit like the AI sort of explosion at the moment. So it's an interesting time for sure. And no doubt I'll delve a little bit deeper in subsequent versions of Just 5 Minutes. Okay, take care. That's all I've got for this time.